Welcome, good morning, Vietnam! Welcome back to another episode here at the VCS English, bringing you all the news about the VCS. My name is Carrix. With me are some handsome and beautiful people, 𝗀𝗍𝗀𝗀𝗀, Clockwork, and Mabinogi. It's been a good split so far. We are halfway through. The first round robin has concluded, and it feels like only yesterday we were getting started. How are you feeling after the first half, 𝗀𝗍𝗀𝗀?
Man, what I do for love here, getting up this early for this podcast, but I'm excited,
Boo-hoo.
of course.
Look at Rebel.
I'm excited, of course, because today is going to be crazy. If you don't know, we are moving into new uncharted territory. But first,
We'll get to
I
it.
can't believe we're already done with half a split. How is that possible? We've
I
only
know.
been here for
6
2.5
days a
weeks.
week is how.
It's kind of insane.
ridiculous.
Marby, how are you feeling? You've been casting the first few days of this week. How's it been going?
Yeah, not bad. It's been a bit of an unpredictable one. We've seen some things that just we absolutely did not expect. Some rising, some falling, but all in all, with changes coming through, everything we've learned kind of doesn't mean as much. Kind of have to take it with a grain of salt going forward, which is a pain.
It is. Clockwork, how are you?
Quite fine. This VCS has been very exciting, and given that there's been so many matches, so many days back to back, makes it for a really, really fast-paced split. I mean, I of course wish it was like this always, but maybe let's not say this so loud.
I like having days off, Clockwork.
Look, if it was like 4 days, like
4 days,
okay,
yeah,
that's
that'd be alright.
acceptable.
6 is aggressive. 6 is real aggressive.
Especially when you only have the 8 teams. It's not like we're the LPL over here with more than double that.
It's also not like we have a budget, so it's just a
Okay.
lot of work. But anyway, let's not bemoan our situation. We are, of course, working on a league we love, so there's no real complaints. Let's have a look back on the split as well as... sorry, I'll just get the list up because my Discord decided to break for a second there. One thing we want to do is, of course, we started this split with a podcast episode. Episode 1 of Good Morning Vietnam, where we talked about our power rankings. I'm going to bring those up on the screen, and we need to justify some of the mistakes, perhaps, that we made, as they are on screen now. Some of them were correct, some of them are notably wrong. I'm going to start with you, 𝗀𝗍𝗀𝗀. What's your biggest surprise team? And I think, honestly, we're all going to say the same team for this one.
It has to be luxury, right?
Yeah.
I ranked them second to last. They're now second to first. And yeah, I didn't see this coming. I had no idea they would pop up this hard. Some of you had them fifth, which is respectable, basically meaning the best of the rest. But they're better than that even. They're in the mix. And I still don't understand why and how.
It's pretty crazy that they've managed to do it. Yeah, as you can see, we all had luxury not making playoffs. They were a team with several rookies on an organization that we didn't have a huge amount of faith in. And as you said, they are now second. Question for the panel, I'll let everyone jump in. Will they stay second?
I think there's a chance, depending on the match today. If they clinch the match against Garn today, I think they're pretty comfortable. If not, I think they probably lose that spot to Garn themselves. But I think they're very comfortably in that top upper bracket. The changes in coaching, the changes in bot lane as well, have actually done a lot to elevate this team more than I ever imagined.
Clockwork, do you have any thoughts?
I'm going to stay close to the top. Second or third, it depends really, as Mabby said, mostly on GAM. My partial explanation, of course, adding to 𝗀𝗍𝗀𝗀 that, of course, luxury improved, but also they were kind of helped by the fact that Team
Everyone
Secret
else dropped.
dropped like stones, and 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀 hasn't really found their groove. So yes, they improved, but they were also like helped by external conditions, which is, good that they are managing to take advantage of the situation. If they can get to the podium, well, that's a good start for Spring Split.
Certainly is. Another, I think, surprise team here that we all have ranked quite high. I think the lowest any of us have them ranked is third. Is 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀. Clockwork touched on it. They have completely fallen off. 𝘀𝗚, I know you're a big 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀 fan. What's gone wrong?
So it's only 2.5 weeks, and they're still in contention for playoffs. So those are the positives. There's still a lot to be done, a lot of time to turn it around. But yeah, they don't really look like themselves from spring. They have huge problems, and they even brought in a new bot laner who has been succeeding. He's actually the best player on the team for most games. So surprising to see the rest of the team falter so much. Unfortunately, everyone seems to have a few problems, and 𝗃𝗀 is the worst offender. He's certainly the one struggling the most to adapt. Now a new meta is coming in, so maybe this is more his type of style, and he can get back into spring form.
You think 𝗃𝗀 is the one struggling the most?
Oh, for sure, yeah. For me, 𝗃𝗀, over the last 2.5 weeks, 𝗃𝗀 was the biggest letdown, for sure. He was the second best jungler, contesting for first, and now he's not even in the top 4. Maybe not even top 5. He's really bad.
Yeah, my take on it is, though 𝘀𝗏𝗏 I think is worse individually,
player,
he didn't fall as far. He definitely didn't fall as far.
I think you're over-focusing on the last week. And the first week, 𝘀𝗏𝗏 was absolutely okay.
Oh yeah, I mean the Lissandra games were
particularly
despicable.
horrible.
They were
they were despicable.
But yeah, I definitely think the I still think those two are definitely the bottom two, but 𝗃𝗀 fell first is the big one.
That's true. Clockwork, what are your thoughts on the Buffalo? Yeah,
everyone mentioned 𝗀𝗏𝗏 and 𝗃𝗀 dropping a bit, but also I think a bit of responsibility also falls onto 𝗁𝗏𝗏, despite Rebel's excitement, because he still has the intuition to go for some plays, but the roams in the early game that he was setting up with 𝗃𝗀 and try to impact the rest of the map, I don't know, they haven't been so impactful or even present. I don't remember him trying to set up as much as these plays. So it's probably something more general than the single players just having an underperformance. But yeah, it looks fixable. It's not something that they will probably like carry on for a long time, I believe.
Yeah, my read on part of the woes of 𝘁𝗏𝗏 is they had a very distinct style in spring. It looked like they were reading a script for the first 7 minutes of every game, right? They came in, they knew exactly what they were doing. They were somewhat malleable if things went wrong or they had to adapt, but they definitely had a game plan for the first 7 minutes. So 𝗃𝗀 and 𝗁𝗏𝗏 knew where they should be at all times. I don't think that exists as much this split. I don't know if maybe in spring the coaches were really leaning on that style because they had so many rookies, and now they're like, oh, we kind of want to let them off the chain a little bit, but it's not working, put them back on. Tell them exactly where to go, tell them how to dance, because it's looking pretty ugly from 𝘁𝗏𝗏. And yeah, we all have them ranked nowhere below third. At the moment, they're 5th or 6th in my opinion, in terms of power ranking. Maybe are they below BTS? Maybe, I'm not sure.
5th or 6th? Wow.
Yeah,
that's very low.
I mean, I think if they were to play, obviously discounting new patch things, if they were to play BTS, they'd lose.
Yeah, but SPTC, they would win, I think.
Depends. Hero can play mid laners
or 6th, yeah. So.
Hero can play mid laners now. The game's changed.
Yeah, like I think SPTC, if they don't play Artifact, could have a crack. So,
Is
Yeah,
SBTC
I-
another surprise? Do you guys think they should have performed better, considering we had them slightly higher than they ended up being? Like they started so well with Penguin, and then being our player of the week in week 1. Then they fell off completely week 2. They only played one match yesterday, which they won against Flash. Woohoo!
they
But,
didn't look good,
yeah.
though. They didn't look very good.
They looked extremely good in game 2. To be fair,
That's true. Game 1 looked
Game
rough,
1 was a bit of a fumble in the early game, but they look a lot like I don't actually have a great analogy, but basically the idea is if they get off to a good start, they know how to snowball pretty well. But if they aren't able to get rolling, then they start to struggle.
Yeah,
I
for
have a
sure.
question here. Did the Milky Chicken emote,
Fix it.
what was it created during
Yeah.
yesterday's match?
Yes.
It was during the pause.
Okay,
The
so
between series. So
SBTC gave us that emote, so it's fine. They did more than enough already.
Sure.
They don't have to accomplish anything else now. Okay.
Exactly. For us, that's the baseline.
Yeah, look, I mean, I don't SGB, yeah, okay, the power ranking was wrong, but I'm pretty sure all of us were like, oh, why did you put SBTC where you were? Yeah, they're best of the rest. They're not a top team,
Yeah, no.
but they're not complete dogs either. Whatever.
They-
They're a little bit more, they have a little bit more bark to them than I thought. That's it.
they were a little bit of budget secret from maybe not last split, but like last year even. Where
Yeah.
it's like, you have Artifact Celebrity, that's a solid core. DK
That's true.
Penguin has shown good things. That should be enough to get over a Luxury and BTS who didn't change much from spring and looking crap. Flash and Team Secret. So, easily, pretty much theory was best of the lot, outside the obvious top 3. But no, with Luxury and BTS showing up, it's rough for them.
They're still competing for the same spot, right? They're still competing for
Sure.
the best after the top 3. Just the top 3 has changed, and they don't really look like the best of the rest. So still in kind of the same echelon, but a little bit lower for us all. The last thing I want to touch on before we probably have to move on. Clockwork, how dare you put BTS last place?
Oh, I thought you were going to call me out on Cerberus, but yeah.
I mean,
that's
too.
That speaks for
less
itself.
defensible. That's way less defensible. But yeah, BTS actually, like, I realized that, as I also guessed when we first were doing these power rankings, that keeping the roster would give them an inherent advantage over Flash and Secret, which they took, and they are showing that they are a better team than last split. And I've been excited to see Drakthar and Glory play, and also Ryuk, despite first week was one of the worst canon of the year, but he's been improving even in just a few weeks. So I have good hopes. Maybe they can shoot for playoffs if they keep this up.
Maybe. What is everyone else's thoughts on BTS? Are they legit?
Yeah. They are.
And when we say, they're probably shooting for 4th at the moment, but can you see them making a bit of a run in playoffs? Maybe not winning the split, but making the final?
No. If they get to 4,
It's a high bar.
they're 4th. There's
Wait.
very nice drop between 3 and...
Wait a second. If they place 4th, as of now...
They'd play Cerberus.
We know...
that's easy.
They would play playoff Cerberus.
An aggressive tendency of not playing best of 5s.
So, I mean, if they play against Cerberus in first round of playoffs, GG, easy. BTS makes finals.
I mean, that is
That would be the biggest what the hell happened result ever. Imagine being a fan of this league and not watching the split, and you end up with BTS in the finals.
At that point, the whole thing is actually...
Yeah, at that point, you actually crossed a witch at some point. And you have an actual hex on you. But yeah, look, the split has definitely had a lot of surprising teams. Thankfully, I think most of the teams we're surprised about it in a positive way. With one or two exceptions that are very disappointing. But it's good. Let's talk about roles, because typically the hierarchy of roles in the VCS has pretty much always been jungle is the clear best, followed by top lane, and then it's a bit of a drop, but to support ADC, and then you fall down a cliff, roll down another hill, slip into the sewers, and you end up in the pile of shit that is VCS mid lane. Do you think that hierarchy is still true this split, your way?
I think ADC has moved up. Maybe changed positions with support. Mid lane is probably still the weakest role. Kind of hard to judge when you only watch VCS teams. But maybe top lane has fallen down a little bit too. I might even put ADC as second place right now, because top lane, we have lost a lot of good top laners.
It's true.
𝗏𝗏 isn't performing super well. 𝗀𝗏 had needed some time to get into form. Ryuk is just whatever. Hero doesn't even play top lane anymore. 𝗀𝗏 is meh. Nagia is meh.
A good rookie.
Yeah. So yeah, I think top lane probably as a role has fallen down a little bit on this league.
I think the big thing that points that out is just how far ahead Coded is of the rest.
Coded looks amazing.
Because Coded looks great, but he's picking up like 11 solo kills and all that sort of thing. So he's like smashing the rest of the role there of everyone else in the role. No one else is really showing up. Like 𝗀𝗏's on form now, so
like 𝗀𝗏's numbers is still insane, by the way.
Yeah, so we have like 2 top laners. It's a shit roll right now. Yeah. ADC, that pretty much everyone is good except 𝗀𝗏, and then Eddie's
even 𝗀𝗏's okay. He gets let down by his team more than he gets let down by his own play.
But like Aomine, Shogun, Artemis, DivKid, Celebrity.
Yeah, ADC's really... I think ADC's probably second best. Even, honestly, in terms of, like, consistency throughout the entire role, I might go as far to say it's the best role. It's not, like, where the best players are. The best players are the junglers, no question. Levi is a freak of nature. BJ on form. I mean, this split has been pretty bad, though, so that kind of counts against the role. DK's had some good ones. You also have 𝗀𝗏 has been fantastic, but you also have some real clangers in the jungle. You have
really? I mean, Dante is the only one really.
Dante is pretty dog.
DNK half the time.
No,
DNK tosses a coin.
No. I will not accept this slander. DNK is having an amazing split. Look at his MVP points under dumpster fire of a team. He is more than 50 points. He is smurfing almost every game. Okay, he lost to Levi, but that's Levi. He's always losing to Levi.
I'm just saying, he has to redeem himself for that Z level 1. Okay? He has a long way to go.
Stuff of nightmares.
That Z level 1 is going to take some making up for, but no, it is true. DNK's having a good split. Yeah, maybe ADC doesn't quite overtake jungle, but I think it's close, and I think that's good. ADC is a role where for a long time it's kind of been Artemis and the rest. Like, Artemis is a freak of nature. If you go to our Discord, Propaganda Panda did a bit of a stat breakdown. Not super comprehensive, but just an idea. And, I mean, Artemis is just playing in a different league. He's a freak. And it's part of why CERBERUS keeps winning, because they win bot lane every single game, which is really nice, and they don't pick Jhin. Stop doing that, VCS. We hate him.
Let's why you're picking him. He is good, but
yeah,
don't like
to make an argument.
Sorry, go ahead, Clock.
Raise mid lane a bit, not too much, because I agree that we do have a lot of terrible mid laners still, like Jerry and Harvey and Pake. They're still polluting the league, like the sewers you mentioned before. But I've seen more impressive mid lane plays. out of Blazes and the likes of Glory,
Blazes.
for example, that they've been very
Blazes
surprising.
has been good.
Granted that they are still picking Twisted Fate and Rise without any idea of how to use their ultimate well in post 20 minutes. So I'm not gonna push them too far up.
I think you
But
can.
still,
I think
I
Blazes
agree
has
with
been really good. You can be hype about Blazes. He's been sick.
Glory
Yeah,
as well.
they,
Glory has changed
two
the style on
players-
this.
Yeah, exactly. These
sorry.
two players have shown that they at least understand how to play around jungle and how to be there for the rest of the team in the early to mid game, which is a crucial skill for a mid laner and not something that we've always seen in the past. So that is a good improvement from the mid laners in the VCS.
Which is good. Let's sort of just go around. We'll open discussion. Top 2 players in each role. We don't all... I don't want to go like each person or anything because I think we'll agree on a lot of them. Top lane,
easy.
Coded
Yeah,
𝗀𝗃. Which order?
Pick,
That's
I'd
easy.
say
Curious
coded
on your...
for now. That can change, but coded for now.
Do we agree?
Yeah, I
Coded
think so.
𝗀𝗃? Your way, I
Depends on
know...
Do you want to say for so far for the games or projected for the rest? 'Cause
So far.
Definitely
So far.
𝗀𝗃 for me.
So far.
Okay, then coded first, 𝗀𝗃 second is fine, but I think by end of split, we have 𝗀𝗃 first, coded second.
I think that's fair. I think that one's pretty easy. Jungle?
Mhm.
I mean, after the week he had last week, I have to put Levi first, I think.
Yeah.
And then probably Killer Queen in my book. Any other names you guys want to throw in the ring?
I want to throw
It's
Ego.
either yeah,
Yeah?
Levi
Ooh,
Ego
you
or
can't
Levi
forget about
Killer
ego,
Queen.
actually.
Yeah, I think Jungle's
I
hard
think-
to do too.
I think he goes first.
I mean, it's not... I
That's a
mean,
very solid argument.
Levi
for that, yeah.
Levi didn't have a good week 1. That's a huge knock against
Levi
him.
had a
And-
bad week 1. The less said about Killer Queen on Tuesday, the better. But and
And even Levi
Just-
wasn't too super impressive this week, so
yeah,
Yeah.
I think Ego's not quite as flashy, but he's been super solid.
Lee Sin
and
is
just,
flashy.
At least Sin is, yeah, of course. But like in general, he's just so good at like keeping the enemy team down and getting his team snowballing. That is just fantastic. He's not like the 1v9 carry jungler. He's being a bit more facilitating than definitely Killer Queen and Levi. But yeah, he's the best jungler.
And who's second? Levi?
Yeah,
Or
because like
Killer Queen?
Levi has looked good on its own, but Ego has made everyone else on the team look good.
Second's hard.
Yeah, I think I do agree. Ego in first. I kind of forgot about him when I first spoke. Kind of blanked. But yeah, he has been pretty absurd. As long as you don't look at his Rift Herald summons. That's an easy one. That's an easy one to ignore.
With an asterisk, it's fine.
Yeah, that's easy to ignore. But yeah, Levi, I mean, his week 2 was one of the most dominant weeks of any player I can remember. I think the stat was he went from having like a
3.3 to 12.7.
yeah, 3.3 KDA coming into the week and left the week with a 12.7 KDA. Like,
Wow.
Pretty good.
that's pretty cracked. So Levi's definitely in the conversation for second, but Killer Queen has been elevating a on paper worse team. DNK, he is using the wrong tools for the job, but he's building a railway anyway. So you know,
Okay, the second best jungler is Penguin on Nidalee. Specifically.
Only on Italy.
Image.
Only on Nidalee. I'm going to say Killer Queen because just for the whole split so far, I think by the end of it, Levi will 100% overtake him, but Killer Queen so far.
That's a fair
And we
shout.
put 3
Again.
players in the top 2.
It's a tie.
and going to the next role, the mid lane. Blazes has to be in the conversation. Yado has to be in the
Blazes
conversation. Glory is in the conversation, in my opinion.
𝗁𝗏𝗏, of course.
𝗁𝗏𝗏, of course, but is 𝗁𝗏𝗏 a mid laner? I mean, he's picked a couple mages now. He has played Vex, and he's very good on Vex.
Playing in the mid lane role, so...
𝗁𝗏𝗏's been
Can't
actually
argue
pretty
with that.
solid, but I think it's very clear 𝗬𝗏 and Blazes in that order. I think those two have just been
𝗬𝗏 first?
head
Okay.
and shoulders above the rest. Glory and 𝗁𝗏𝗏 stepped up huge in the back end, but they started pretty fucking bad.
It's to 𝗬𝗏 because he's been the only player, or at least the player that has shown the most accurate understanding on how to play Vex. It seems that all the other mid laners either don't play the pick as well or just ignore it. So props to 𝗬𝗏 that is willing to experiment and make it fit into the team. That's a really
Actually,
good
I
quality.
have the exact
Now
opposite feeling.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think he has the best jungler and the best ADC in the league. He gets to do whatever he wants, because Artemis carries his team anyway.
That is a fair
the rest
point.
of the team is solid as well. He's not playing badly. He's playing well, but for me, Glory and Blazes both contribute more to their team's success than 𝗬𝗏𝗏. So I'd put them ahead of him so far, at least.
That is a fair point. I'm being ulted by Leona in the meanwhile.
You are
Yeah.
very shiny over there.
God is smiling down at Clockwork.
Yes.
Good.
With a
Heaven
4
knows
second
no one else
CC.
So, yeah, mid lane is definitely contentious, but I agree. Moving to AD carry. Artemis is number 1. We're talking about number 2. There is only one spot to talk about, and it's who is second to Artemis. I think there's a few candidates. ADC hasn't been much of a carry role for a lot of teams. We have been seeing a lot of Jhin. Your way, your opinion is immediately just a little bit coloured. But who are you guys thinking?
I put
Shogun?
top 2.
Celebrity?
And I'm gonna look.
Shogun.
Now I'm gonna look.
I think
what are
Celebrity
the-
has been really good.
I think Shogun. For similar reasons,
Celebrity.
Celebrity. Probably.
DivKid as well has been great. He splits time with style though, so
Yeah, that's what's keeping DivKid out for me, but I think Shogun has been very much the carry for Buffalo at this point. So that's why I'm leaning towards him over some of the others. 𝗁𝗏𝗏's also put up some fantastic performances, but it's not as much all on his back.
Yeah, I'm always hesitant to call it 𝗁𝗏𝗏 because, of course, I'm biased towards him. So maybe it's just 𝗁𝗏𝗏. He had some very strong carry performances. Yeah. He's very consistent. Actually, even on Jhin, when he loses every game, he puts up insane numbers.
It's true.
Please stop picking Jhin. Your team needs you to carry. Please, dude, stop.
I'm checking now who are the ADCs that picked Jhin the least, and then I'm gonna put them top 2. Beat has played 7 games. Celebrity has 8 games. 𝗁𝗏𝗏 7. Shogun 4. Eddie 7.
𝗁𝗏𝗏 has been really good. 𝗁𝗏𝗏 has been so good on his like Lucian and stuff.
I mean, the difference between the BTS that was in spring and the BTS that is now, so it's a crucial component of this team.
I actually think 𝗁𝗏𝗏 might be in second.
It's very loud.
Yeah,
he's very far behind Artemis, but so is everyone.
Yeah, 𝗁𝗏𝗏 and Shogun would be my 2 picks. I don't particularly have a stronger preference to either. I think Shogun, I would lean Shogun because he is more important to his team, but 𝗁𝗏𝗏 has been bothered.
Yeah, I think they're very close. The two of them are very close together. To me, Shogun still needs to show a little bit more in the later stages of the game. I'm very convinced he's a decent laner and can definitely offer a lot of different champions to his team. I'm not quite sure if he can carry as hard as 𝗁𝗏𝗏 when it comes to team fight and just running away the game. So I'd lean 𝗁𝗏𝗏 for now. But yeah, Shogun is putting up a lot of work for his team that's slacking. So let's hope 𝘁𝗶 gets back in shape, because they could actually be even better than in spring. If everyone plays like spring and then Shogun comes in, the hard carry ADC, suddenly the team is even scarier.
Thankfully, we can just have a loose top 2, so I think we've discussed it. Moving on to support. A bit of a trickier one here to say a clear top one. 𝗀𝗏𝗃 started quite slow, but has had some absolutely outstanding performances. Elio, I think,
have a
is
name.
someone to talk about. Go ahead, Clockwork, give us a name.
Has to be Ron OP. He's been cracking the rift.
It's true. He has been really good.
I
I know
Number
your
one
way.
proponent of the cow series.
Yulwei has
Okay.
a look on his face going, oh, cool, he plays, oh, okay, he pressed E on Leona and got MVP.
Exactly. It's going to be hard to judge because everyone has been playing just Alistair and Leona, which
You know
anyone
me
is
too
going to
well.
play in the same way. But Ron OP, even before this like wave of engaged supports was on the thing, he also played Thrash, I remember, and he had some very good games. And on the Alistar, he's the only one that I remember so far that has pushed a bit forward beyond the WQ combo.
According to our MVP votings, I haven't put in the votes from yesterday, so it's not quite up to date. But apart from yesterday, everything is in there, and 𝗀𝗏𝗃 is the number one in terms of points. And then Ron OP is second. B has a decent amount of points, and Elio, is on the fringe.
Yeah, I was thinking 𝗀𝗏𝗃 and B. Ron's fine, and Ron's done some crack stuff, but he's also done some sillies.
Yeah.
From
He had that one pretty terrible Nami game, but he did redeem himself. I think he played Nami again and played pretty well.
Yeah,
He did. He played really well in that game. And Ron is really hard to judge because he basically doesn't lane, and he has the best laning ADC next to him. So, what is his contribution? I don't really understand. Like, his team fights are great, his engages are great. He understands how to peel, but he basically sacks laning phase, and Artemis still smashes lane. I don't really understand how that's possible, but it works somehow. So, for now, I think it's also fair to put him into the top 2. But I feel like there is opportunity to punish this support player. If you counterpick support against Ron OP, you should be able to punish him, and that should also put Artemis behind. So Ron OP can go from a strong point to a liability to his team very quickly. So it's.
Are you trying to predict a Ron OP because it springs it down?
I think.
Right.
I mean, look, of the 3, Ron is the one that wards the least, so he's out.
Sure.
That's the metric. Says support. I don't know.
So now go ahead, sorry.
I don't know. I know.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Gut says 𝗀𝗏𝗃 first, B second.
Yeah, we've got a few names in the ring. That's what's important. I want to also talk about some outliers, both positive and negative. Who's really been an outlier so far? Artemis is an obvious answer, so I don't think we need to dwell on him. He's the best ADC in the league. He's arguably, I mean, I'm not sure if it's reflected in MVP points, but right now he's probably the best individual player in the league. Ignoring him, what are some outliers you guys have noticed so far? Clockwork, have you noticed anyone? Positive or negative?
Question to clarify, you mean outliers compared to our expectation before the split, or compared to the stats or the levels of other players?
I think
in the
compared
same
to the level of other players, like who's been really, really good or really, really bad?
I'm going to go with really, really good, and I'm going to say Ego again, because of course it's kind of a mix of the two criteria that I just mentioned, because we didn't have great hopes after what he showed in spring. Of course, it was just 2 games, so we were just left with a little of bad taste, and we weren't sure if he was going to pick it back up, and he did. And also has had some cracker games in a role that already is and always has been stacked. And he's showing up well despite other players coming up hot, like Penguin, like Killer Queen, like Drakthar, and he still managed to shine through. So Ego, absolutely one of the bright spots in this role for this split.
Very much a return to 2020 form out of him. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the rest of you. I was able to ignore those games in spring pretty easily. I knew those weren't an indication of what he was actually about, but I was worried about just what a year of rust does to a player, because of course he was out for all of spring and then the additional 6 months. So it's essentially a year of rust. But, I mean, evidently they kept him well-oiled and kept him in use, because he's come in and been really, really good. Your way, what are some outliers you've noticed?
All the rookie junglers or younger junglers together. I'm not sure if that's fair, but I feel like it's very hard to separate them. 𝗀𝗧𝗏 and 𝘁𝗁𝗏 especially.
I think it's pretty easy to separate one of them.
Well.
Dante. He's terrible.
Yeah, okay. I'm not talking about Dante, yeah. I'm talking about the softer
Dante
mode.
Erasure.
Yeah, no, Dante is not in here. I'm talking about the players that are playing their second or third split. So DK, Penguin, 𝘁𝗁𝗏, and of course 𝗀𝗧𝗏 as well. I think those three have really come together now and are the new crop of junglers contesting Ego and Levi. I mean, it's only Ego's second split as well, but for me, Ego is in a little bit of a different tier just because he has already won the league and already been the best jungler, right? So he doesn't really have to prove anything. He has to prove he can come back, but he has definitely shown us he can. So for me, Ego's in a different state of his career, even though he hasn't been here for a long time. But 𝗀𝗧𝗏, Penguin, and 𝘁𝗁𝗏 are the new Vietnamese star junglers, and they are here to contest Levi and Ego and BJ, I guess. So that's very cool to see. All three of them together, I'd say, are the outliers.
Yeah, Marby, who have you noticed?
I feel like the easy one is to just say to actually just sort of kind of point to actually I have no idea. I don't know. I guess the easy one is probably coded, because
Oh yes.
very few none of the other top laners are actually very much the carry. Kiaya can, of course, and can carry, of course. They can carry, but none of them are. No one focuses them. It's all going to the bot lane these days, except for Coded. Coded is the big star for Luxury alongside 𝘁𝗁𝗏, and that's a very different style to what the rest of the league seems to be playing.
Yeah. Very, very fair. Proud of all of you for keeping it positive, by the way.
I mean, my
reel us back
instant
in
gut
with the
reaction was
negative.
to just shit on 𝗀𝗏 because he's dog shit and the worst AD carry by a country mile.
It's not even true.
It is.
He just doesn't have a support.
The next
He's
closest
played
is
okay.
Ed, and he's
played okay on Aphelios. And that's
like,
basically...
he's a rookie. Like, he's a rookie and he was thrown to the dogs of Flash. He's doomed. Leave him alone. I think you guys mostly...
Eddie has 𝘁𝗏 as a support and he's still way
𝘁𝗏's fine. He's better than Paulette. Paulette's been awful.
I think...
Okay, Carrix, who's your
negative?
negative pick to reel us back in?
Paulette! He's terrible. He's awful.
Yeah.
He's been really bad, and it's a shame because he is, a very decorated veteran of the VCS. Obviously, in the tail end of his career, maybe, I don't know how much of it is a little bit of, this team is doomed, so I just don't care. We know the mental in Flash is not great. And how much of it is his hands have just withered away. Probably a bit of both. But yeah, I don't think he's been very good. Like, yeah, okay, I agree 𝗀𝗏 hasn't been good either. But he's a rookie. I can see in 2 or 3 splits, 𝗀𝗏 being okay. Paulette, retire. Go to TSM. You're TSM ready. Off you go. Go catch that check. Go ahead, Clockwork.
It's Artifact. Artifact has been mega poor.
I disagree. I don't think individually Artifact has been that bad.
Yeah, no,
I just
hasn't.
think the team doesn't work around him very well.
Exactly, and that is a problem. That is a problem that kind of gets attributed to Artifact.
Yeah.
With
hard
him
not to.
disrupting a dynamic, but yeah, it's not on his he's not shit on Rift. He's just
But two counterpoints. Number one, his laning stats are terrible. Absolutely terrible. He's like 800 gold at 15. That's something that is really down to the
It's not
ground.
great.
And secondly,
Actually,
it's Artifact. We expect him to, help. He should be one of the cores of the team together with Celebrity, with CBL, that, spreads advantage to the rest of the team. It shouldn't be the rest of the team helping him.
Yeah, he's always been a fairly resource-heavy mid laner, which is fine. Like, it's a role that can hog resources and do a lot with it. But yeah, I don't think Artifact has been great, I agree, but I wouldn't necessarily call him an outlier negatively, because I don't think he's been that bad. He just doesn't fit the team's dynamic, so they shouldn't play him. Hero should play over him, but not necessarily because Artifact is dog shit, just dog water player.
I think the thing worth noting for Artifact is even though he is not doing great in lane, he's not actually getting that much in terms of resources. This time around, but he's still actually pumping out a lot of the damage in the games he's in. So he's doing his part. He's carrying his fair share of the heavy lifting. But yeah, the team as a whole is with him. So don't run him. It's not worth it.
Yeah, we will move on, though, because we do have a lot more to cover, and we don't have a huge amount of time to do it. MVP discussion. Obviously, there's going to be an answer for who is currently leading in points. I'm sure you have your way. But before we take a look at points, so I won't come to you your way, because I think you know, Clockwork and Marby, who is your pick for MVP of the mid-split?
There's one split where Artemis wins MVP. It has to be this one.
He always wins mid-split MVP, though.
Does.
He always wins mid-split MVP. And I agree, by the way. I think he's my pick for mid-split MVP.
I actually think, because of how I tend to view the idea of MVP, it's 𝗀𝗰𝗀𝗀. I think the rest of CERBERUS is actually
Your idea is wrong.
most valuable player to an individual team.
We always use
it's
that.
not
She has
how
a point.
MVP works.
She has a point.
Yeah, it's
Like, the MVP does not necessarily mean best player in the league.
I disagree.
Yeah, well, I disagree because you're fucking wrong. No, so I think 𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 because
Okay, fair
one of the
enough.
best players in the team, and his team doesn't succeed without him.
I see your argument, Marby.
CERBERUS can
I
still
see
be
your
strong
argument,
with
Marby, but
a
I'm going to
lesser
inform you that in this context, it's most valuable player of the league, not to the team. I see where you're coming from.
Levi because of branding. There, fuck you.
On the rift. I'm going to kick you from the call. On the rift. Also, what's your language, by the way?
It's the podcast!
Yeah, but it's 20 minutes before the real broadcast!
No, it's not.
I'll come in your room and
Doesn't
hit you. I can do that. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Do we all... Marby, not you, do the rest of us sensible people agree that it's Artemis? And what do the points say?
Yeah, I'm putting in the last CERBERUS series. He's definitely... Ego and Artemis are fighting for the top right now. Interesting enough, closer than you would expect. But once again, showing that Ego is also a big contender. Maybe even not only for top jungler, but for best player in the league even. Or the player with the most impetus. Because, of course, ADC as a position will always have to wait for other roles to set him up. But yeah, Artemis is just a freak. Look at his stats. He's the only player in the whole league with more than 10 CS per minute, and it's not close. The second one has almost a CS per minute less. And his team isn't even going into the late game. He's winning every single laning phase. He has an average gold advantage of more than 1k at 50 minutes.
That's insane.
Individually. Like, his team's up
insane.
2k, and 1k of that is just Artemis every single game. His stats, his KDAs are insane. He just played a Ziggs game yesterday, which honestly was pretty impressive considering he's not supposed to be a mage player. So what can the guy not do? He's really showing off right now.
Thankfully, there is not a huge amount of discussion that needs to be had for best player in the league at the moment. I think even if I phrase it like that, do you agree, Marby?
If you phrase it like that, then yeah, I'm going between Artemis or Ego.
Okay, cool.
But there is a lean towards Ego because jungler is so much better than the rest. Oh, like
The pool.
There are a lot of better junglers, so is it just Artemis beating up on lesser rated carries?
Fair. There's a lot of discussion I'm sure we could have, but we do need to move on because we've got to talk about the next chapter of the VCS. Moving into tonight, in 20 minutes or so, when we wrap up this podcast, we will be beginning the first series of the next round robin, and it's the battle for second place. What a game to start it off, as 𝘀WWE will be taking on 𝗀𝗏. 𝗀𝗏 looking for revenge from their week 1 matchup, where 𝘀WWE got the better of them. And we are moving patches. We are moving forward in time to 11:23. Welcome to the preseason. The Fart Dragon is here. The new items are here. And it's a very different game. We're going to go around the podcast. We've all picked something we want to talk about, something we want to identify. I cut you off a little bit in the MVP discussion, so I'll let you start this one, Marby.
So I'm a degenerate, and I like tanks, and tanks are viable again.
Tonks,
Yay!
tonks, tonks.
Tonks. Now that's at the best of the best champs in the top lane, at least according to solo queue metrics, are still bruisery types, but some of them aren't going to translate. I don't think Tryndamere is going to translate well. Riven's not going to translate well in Pro, unless it's a very specific player. So we're going to probably see a lot more of things like the Shen, like the Tahm-Kench, the Mundo. These ones can just sort of are kind of plug and play-ish. Ornn will probably show up because Nagira will play it at the very least. Just these small buffs to the tank items aren't really enough to push them over. The spicy one I'm hoping for is 𝗀𝗏 from Kiaya, but just while it still works, well, before they come along and fix it.
Yeah, 𝗀𝗏's a little bit bugged at the moment. For those that perhaps haven't been following the preseason too closely, 𝗀𝗏 currently has a bug with Titanic Hydra, where the bonus HP that it converts into AD, all of Skarl is bonus HP, so he just gets ridiculous amounts of damage and then builds full tank and one-shots you, so that's very cool.
It's a carryover from the old item system that they didn't actually update, which functioned well there, but since then that's been his build there, but these buffs have dragged him right up, as well as Lethal Temp.
Yeah, so that is getting fixed on 11:24, but we are not going to 11:24, so we could see some of the tank 𝗀𝗏. Tanks in general, yeah, definitely very exciting. Not sure how quick the VCS will be to pick them up, outside of, as you said, Nagia will play Ornn, maybe some Malphites and stuff. You know, we have a few players like Kiaya and Yoshino that will go to the Rock whenever they can. We'll see. I would like to see some tanks. It's been a while since we've really seen them strong. Maybe
I'll play some Tahm-Kench already, so maybe.
I'm not gonna say the words. I want to see Tahm-Kench.
Fair, but I'm just saying. But that is one though.
That's not a sentence I'm gonna say. Clockwork, what are you looking at next?
Okay, so you mean it's general gameplay. The thing that has bothered me the most, or is going to bother me the most, is probably the much discussed objective bounties, because, like, in general, they might not be that bad. But in the VCS, we have a very close experience with teams that play early game really well. They get their little goal advantage, even large sometimes. And then at some point, like mid-late game, they struggle to translate this advantage to a victory. Okay, so now imagine that to all this soup, you add something to cut into that advantage and to allow comeback mechanics, which is a fair mechanism to allow the losing team to have some hope and do some spectacular action. But yeah, I don't know if VCS teams are gonna enjoy this, because it's going to make games even shakier. Like, we've had a base race like yesterday, was it CERBERUS against BTS? So that is without any bounty mechanics happening. Now, if you add that up, it's probably going to be wild comebacks and silly base races every other game. So,
I think objective bounties like, I have been the number one proponent of hating them, but I don't hate them because I think they will individually matter. I hate them because of the design philosophy that goes into them. I don't think we need more mechanics. Oh, did Whittle Baby lose the early game? It's okay, you can come back, Whittle Baby. I hate that, but I actually think with the numbers that the objective bounties are at now, everyone got 100 gold. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, that'd be not fixed.
Crazy.
It's just
I don't
the
care.
condition to activate them is way more narrow, so it's not going to be as relevant. I'm just worried about like the ultra late game scenario when someone comes back from a 10k gold lead after winning a fight and taking an objective. That might be tricky, but it shouldn't ruin too many games.
I don't think
gold
so.
on dragons is still way too much.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Even if it is spread across your whole team, it's way too much.
I don't disagree with that. Your way, what have you identified? What do you want to talk about?
So I have two different things. Both are not specifically champions, but more champion classes. We have mages, and especially control mages who like the new mythic item, and then also enchanters. But because nothing changed for enchanters, let's talk about the mages. Enchanters just like the meta for some reason. Let's see if they can actually make a splash for us. But the mages will be intriguing, especially in a league where mid lane is considered the least, the weakest position. And we have some good mage players. Lori comes to mind, Yado comes to mind, Kati not so much, so this could be a nerf to Gam. Froggy used to be able to play everything, so let's see if he can step it back up again. Very interesting changes, especially the Victor is the one champion I think we all need to keep our eyes on. He can not only go for the new queen thingy, diadem...
Crown of the Shattered Queen.
That's the one. But he can also go for first strike. And his win rate is 53%. So nothing compared to his last preseason win rate, which was 60%. But he's still very strong. And yeah, those two things combined, especially if you have a matchup where you can abuse the enemy mid laner, should really lead to a strong Victor scaling. And whenever Victor is strong, teamfights are strong. He's a super strong, just zoning champion, can set up front-to-back teamfights well. Scale into the late game fight around objectives. So he should do everything well that is right now the meta in the VCS. So I expect a lot of Victor today and in the following days.
What I
with
have...
another
Sorry,
mage.
Go ahead.
With another mage that caught my eye, because VCS mid laners have played a lot of Twisted Fate and Rise, and now imagine that your Rise build has changed a bit because the Archangel staff is not as powerful. Rise doesn't really need that much of ability haste. He already has quite low cooldowns. But there's an item that gives you, other than mana, gives you also health, which is the Fimbulwinter. And that is literally, I think it's been designed with the VCS in mind. Oh, finally, the Leona ult is on cooldown. Thank you. But yeah, it's been designed with the VCS in cooldown because they have watched closely the Rise not going to side lane and actually fighting all the time. So they designed an item for him. Yeah, just take health if you don't need cooldown to move to the side lanes. And that's probably going to happen in the VCS. I expect the Fimbulwinter Rise to crack some mid lanes.
Can't wait for Crown Fimbulwinter Frozen Heart.
Yes, yep. I just thought about that as well.
The unkillable Rise.
We bag. Let's go.
Oh boy, that's going to be fun.
Similar token, maybe we see a Cassidy.
Yeah, Cassidy can kind of do that too.
Well. He's doing well.
Oh.
He's doing very well. So what I have wanted to talk about is the Chemtech Rift. The Chemtech Soul, there's not a lot to say. It's broken. It's ridiculously overpowered. Giving a revive is such a dangerous thing.
Just a very quick aside. Do we know if the solo queue changes to double?
I think so. I assume so, because it's in the 11.24 patch notes, it says that's going away. So I assume it's in there. So we don't
get it into the patch.
Okay. We don't know for sure. To be fair, this is speculation, but it does seem like there is going to be the 50% bonus to Hextech and Chemtech Rifts. And I want to talk about the Chemtech Rift in particular. The Hextech Rift, I think, is interesting. You can do cool things with the gates, but I think the gates are okay. They're strong, but I kind of like them. I hate the Chemtech Rift.
They don't really do anything, but
I hate the Chemtech Rift. Your way. it's bad, and they should try again. Have another crack at it, right? Because you didn't get it right. It makes the game kind of dumb, because you can't really get vision. Like, you can use control wards, but the thing is that because there's no bushes, you kind of just have to just put it in the open, and it's like, oh, there it is. Cool. Go D-ward that, no problem. You essentially, once a team gets a lead, the game either turns into a ridiculous turtle fest where you have to stay in your base, or it's over. Because you step out, you're like just outside your base, you've got, you know, a little bit of vision in your jungle, and then 3 assassins that walked over green wards, but it didn't matter because they were stealth, just jump on you and murder you. It is a terrible, terrible rift. I think the VCS is going to love it, because it's going to cause all kinds of fighting. It's going to cause so many mistakes. I can't wait to watch Froggy walk blindly into the gas, not looking at his screen, and just die constantly, because that's what he's doing this split. We know, like, it's going to be terrible. I think that, like, yes, 4 or 5 seasons ago, there was too much vision in League of Legends. I agree. Don't keep going the other way, right?
Yeah, it's like they saw last year's, or this year's, I should say, World's results, and we're like, this is eerily familiar to when we removed vision the last time.
Yeah,
so
Tracker's Knife.
let's do it again.
Gotta keep on nerfing them. I hate the Chemtech Rift. I really, really don't like it. I think you have to change it somehow, make the zone smaller, add some bushes back in, so you can at least so you can hide your wards.
Kill true champions.
What's the second one?
Well, actually,
Garen.
less so much.
Garrett.
Garrett. No, Evelyn's the other one killed by the Rift, but that isn't a bush issue. I will admit. But
yeah, that's not to do with the bushes.
Yeah, true champions.
Yeah, I also don't like. Okay, fine, it's just one champion. Rengar is not particularly meta. It's not like I'm a Rengar player or anything like that, but I do think having the chance, you just have a 1 in 6 chance of not existing in the game if you pick Rengar. That's cool. Also, 6 dragons is too much. That's too much variance for a professional game. Put the dominant dragon in champion select. I've been saying it for a year. I will keep saying it. I am an old man, and I'm yelling at the dragon. And it's never going to change.
Cloud Drake.
I like Cloud Drake.
Yeah, but
better than Ocean.
You know wow.
I know. But again, I don't want to dwell too long. We do have to begin. Go ahead.
No. I'm going to preserve this for broadcast. Be ready.
Oh, okay.
Oh dear.
Very bad joke.
To start wrapping things up. Let me just do one thing. To start wrapping up, what teams do you think really benefit from the patch? What teams do you think really get hurt? And bonus question, how much of a shit show is Game 1 today going to be?
Well, Jack's got buffed, so Luxray's happy.
It's true. Lethal Tempo. None of us talked about Lethal Tempo. That rune is bonkers.
What do you say? It's OP in the most boring way.
It is bonkers.
It's just generically good.
Is it gonna buff Jhin as well?
No, it's terrible on Jhin.
You can't take Lethal Tempo on Jhin.
Jinx? Yes.
Okay.
Jinx is huge.
Okay.
Yeah. Jinx is huge.
All the late game hyper carry ADCs love it. Like Kog'Maw has a great win rate. Vayne has a great win rate right now. So you might be in for some hyper carries, which I'm excited for.
In that vein, I actually think it's pretty good for Cerberus, because again, these mages
I think
for
everything
Yado,
is great for Cerberus.
Yeah,
yep,
I
agree.
Mages for Yado, a lot small, strong, weak side picks for Pun if you go that way. Big 80 carries for Artemis. Everything's just coming up props.
Yeah. If you just go over what we talked about the last 10 minutes, everything's great for Cerberus. They already are 7-0. I'm not sure if this was called for. So, and they actually nerfed Gum with these changes to some extent, because it seems to be a little bit more late game focused from all we've seen. Like tank and enchanter metas are always a little bit more late game, which is a direct nerf to
breach
Gum's
to
early
the
game
union
domination.
contract. Breach of the union contract.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And more dragon focus means more team fights, which means better for Cerberus because they're the best at team fighting. So feels like Cerberus might be even better than before, which is scary. They're 7-0.
I like the patch note that says against Team Secret lose a red side because Nocturne.
Yeah.
He isn't actually that strong in terms of win rate.
His win rate's atrocious. His win rate's
Yeah, it's
atrocious.
really
It's
bad.
just that if he gets ahead, it's disgusting.
It's also one of DNK's biggest favorite champs.
He will try and pick
something
it
you
if he
need
can.
to. So
He
you
will
take
pick
that
it.
off.
Is it that?
Camille
No, okay.
and-
It won't be
Camille and
enough to
Nocturne
get
both
them
go
to
to
playoffs, but I expect Team Secret to abuse the Nocturne, or at least try to do that a couple of times, and maybe get some cheesy wins out of some opponent. But of course, the road to playoffs is hard, and they still have a hole
A
in the
long
mid lane
way.
that no crown is gonna patch up. So
I mean, honestly, I think Parquet is helped by the meta. Like, just stick him on Orianna. He was always...
No, please don't.
he could always not die on Orianna. He never hit an ult.
Yes.
Stick him on Victor.
Or
You can't
Victor,
miss
yeah.
Victor ult.
It's true. Or Victor. I think it helps Parquet. It doesn't save him, but it helps him. So, yeah, I think overall, Cerberus are the big winners. 𝗀𝗏 are a bit of a loser, but they're an adaptable team. They'll be okay. Overall, it's a very exciting time for the VCS.
Who's playing today?
First game is 𝗀𝗏𝗃 vs 𝗀𝗏.
Oh, no.
I don't quite remember who the second series is, because I'm not on
BTS,
today.
SGB.
BTS SGB. So two good games, honestly. Two really,
Very
really
important
good
series.
series.
Yeah.
Both of those are crackers. Particularly the first series, but BTS
Great
and SGB.
matchups with a shit show of a patch.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. But with that, we will be saying goodbye. At least me, 𝗀𝗚, and Clockwork. Marby will be on broadcast tonight, so you'll be seeing more of her in just a little bit. But we do need to give the channel up and give it over to the main broadcast as they get you ready for 𝗀𝗏 and Luxury. Good night, everybody, and we will see you next week.